Welcome back to Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. I am Brandon. I'm actually back with just Nick today for your, 125th episode of Talkin Shop with ShopSabre.
It's a really big number.
It is a really big number. And congratulations, you made it. We should have a party.
It's my kind of music right there.
I thought it was. So we're changing things up, aren't we, Nick?
Just a little bit. I think it's probably a good change, though, for the better, for everybody's entertainment, our entertainment, just kind of overall.
I think we got to the point where, the same four people over and over and over. Let's be honest. As the viewers, you guys probably were getting a little tired of it. And it makes it hard, especially when we have two of the sales guys here every time. So it puts a lot of weight on the other sales guys while they're in here and takes their focus off of what they do best, and that is taking care of you, the customer. So we thought, let's change this thing up. We're going to go back to it's going to be, I guess it wouldn't be back to, we're going to be the Brandon and Nick show.
It's going to be new and improved. How about that?
It's going to be new. We can't say improved yet.
Fair.
Only the customers can tell us if it's improved or if it's gone dramatically downhill.
And obviously, it's good timing with fourth quarter kicking off and the sales guys obviously being way busier. It's kind of a good time to change it up and see what we can come up with.
Yeah. And, for us, it's more about just talking about some of the things in business, in our daily lives, just whatever comes to mind kind of a deal. And hopefully as we kind of reinvent ourselves here at episode 125, we will we'll find some fun things to talk about along the way and hopefully help your business, kind of push forward. I know we got a lot of customers that listen to us in their shops, and we appreciate everybody who tunes in every week. And obviously we want to make sure we keep producing good content.
And stuff that'll keep people obviously engaged and listening and
Yeah.
not the same things over and over and over.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to be like the Kelsey brothers. We're not that good.
We'll get there.
Think so?
Sure.
Think we're going to have Taylor Swift on here?
Maybe.
That'd be kind of cool.
Maybe we can get like Belinda Jensen or somebody. I know her kind of well. We could bring her in.
Hey,
talk
maybe
about the
Belinda
weather.
Jensen will join us. You guys want to hear about the weather? Just so everybody knows, Belinda Jensen is the local news lady.
That was very random.
It was very. I'm glad that you connected Belinda Jensen with Taylor Swift level.
I mean, maybe 20 years ago. That's not very nice. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, that wasn't nice at all. Belinda, if you're listening, I'm still a fan.
She'll laugh.
Belinda's not listening.
I'll send her the link. Then she will have to listen.
Oh, there you go. Like, hey, Belinda, we talked about you. No, but we've talked a lot about a lot of things in business and ShopSabre and whatnot. And something that I wanted to talk a little bit about today was, for our customers who are listening, like, have you ever gave somebody something for free, Nick, and then they complained about it?
Absolutely.
Does it not drive you nuts?
It does, because obviously you're trying to just do somebody a solid, right? And just
Right.
come up with something, and for somehow to just be in that frame of mind that you're just gonna find a reason to complain about something for free, even if it's something you don't like or don't want, whatever. Just take it and
Well, it's not even that.
gift it or something.
I think about I had a buddy of mine. He got a pressure washer for free. Then he complained about it because the pressure washer broke months later. It worked when I gave it to you.
Sure.
You used it, and then it broke, and you complained about it.
No, run down to the store and get the part it needs and fix it.
Well, it's
so
not
you
even
can
that.
make it work.
To just go buy one like you should have the first time. You
And just
cheapo.
and say nothing about it, right? Just move on.
Right. But I think about that. The reason I bring that up is because that's actually the scenario that happened. But then it got me thinking of the situations where you give something to somebody in business. I'm sure a lot of customers can relate here. They've, given an upgrade for free, or they've done something for a customer of theirs, and then something small happens, and then they just completely give them grief for it. And it's I was kind of doing you a solid already.
Right.
Let's not make a big deal out of it, right?
Or they come back to you and they're like, well, you gave this to me for free and now it's not working. And you're going to hook me up again since you did it the first time. And you give them an inch and they want to take a foot
Right.
type of thing. No, just be respectful of what you got the first time and then be like, oh, I can buy this one, or I can replace this one myself, or whatever.
Right. There is that. That drives me nuts in business, though. But, I just think about those type of things. And, but then I started to think about, people in business and what they do for each other. And, especially right now, things are expensive in the world. So, I guess I'm more grateful when a company helps me out.
Absolutely.
When they do things for me and, go out of their way than I maybe was in the past. Even if I look back where I was 5 years ago, I think I was a lot less grateful back then than I am today. Like I think about all the things that the people I should have thanked probably when I was younger, right? Starting with mom and dad.
Yep.
The old JB. You know, my dad fired me multiple times, which was cool, but I should thank him for that because it made me better.
Well, I mean, it's kind of life lessons. You learn from those things, right? Like,
Yeah.
as long as you learn from it and don't continue to go down that path and just be unappreciative of things, I think it's always good.
Right. I think that's the thing about it is like, I just think about that. Like in business, a lot of us have an option of who we work with, right? And whether you choose a vendor or a supplier or whoever you're picking in your business, but like we all choose it for various reasons, right? Whether it be price, service, whatever it is. But like there's many times I promote people's products like in advance of any deal. And I just do it because it's like doing somebody a solid, right? When I think they have a good product or they have something that's cool, like I'm not looking for a handout.
No, but I think it's also a good sign to them at what kind of person they're going to be working with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously anybody can go to somebody like that and try to promote them right away and do whatever, but giving somebody a good first impression is usually a good plan when you're going to try to do some business with them.
Right. And that, but you know, it's for me, it's a lot of like advertising stuff, you know, like that's something I'm pretty good at on my end, right? I do advertising and that's what we focus on. And there's times I tie in other people's products with our product. And what drives me nuts is like you tie them in and then suddenly like it ends up in a rabbit hole, right? You start promoting another product, just trying to help them out. And then like it just snowballs where it distracts you from what you're actually trying to accomplish. And then some people like they take it in a negative way. Well, why didn't you sell me that? Like we're not even selling that. I'm just showing it off, you know, like
Right. Or they think that like the product that you sold them in place of it was somehow not up to the quality of what you're promoting now. Like, no, we're just trying to, you know, to go have different avenues or different people to work with, whatever. It doesn't mean that anything that we gave you was not up to par.
And I think that frustrates me more in business because it's like an automatic assumption of my character.
Right.
Like, because let's be honest, as a CNC manufacturer, things change, right? We change designs, we upgrade. We're always doing something with the forethought of how can we improve, right?
Yep.
I mean, I guess I can't speak for every company out there, but I don't know a lot of companies out there that are like, we're going to change this because it's worse.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like nobody does that. So like to automatically assume they did it to screw me. Like, no, that's not what the company was doing. Like we made a change. Let's maybe talk about it. Right.
Right. Or like, why didn't you have this a year ago when I bought my machine?
Correct.
Because we didn't know that this was needed or that it was something that would work properly, or we were researching it to figure out if it would work properly, and it just wasn't the time to put it out there so you guys struggled to use it or whatever.
I wonder if any cabinet makers run into that or sign makers as they're out there. Like they install something and some new material comes out and their customers are like, why didn't you make mine out of that? Well, it didn't exist when I made yours.
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. To me, that's like the easiest way to explain it for a lot of people. Like when you buy a product, sometimes the company sold you what they have because the future wasn't here yet.
Right.
Right. I mean, you can't, that'd be like me getting mad at my pickup truck because it didn't have GPS in it. Right. When I was, younger.
Yeah.
Well, the GPS wasn't in trucks. Like, how did they put something in there that didn't exist, and then, expecting people to be able to forward. I was on a Ford page the other day, and like the new 23 Ford came out. Is it 23 or 24? 24 Ford.
Probably 24.
Yeah, it's probably the 2029 Ford came out.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, I was laughing because I guess they got some monster screen in the new Ford, which doesn't surprise me, right? I mean, everything's giant screens and everything now. And I haven't seen it myself. But apparently, hey, if you got a new Ford pickup out there, send me a picture. I want to see it. In all seriousness, though, it I guess has this giant screen in it. And somebody on the Ford page wrote a message on there, and he's like, I don't understand why they don't make it so we can install these in our older Fords. Like, what? Is that real life? Like, and that's what gets you thinking, like, how ungrateful. Like, you expected the company to backwards compatible new technology. Like, just buy a new Ford.
Right? I mean, that's...
Sell yours if you don't like something about it. Because obviously you like it enough to stay in the group and to look at the new trucks. So go buy the new one.
Right. I think it's kind of like a lot of things we see on the internet nowadays. Even if you try to do something positive or post something positive, I'm sure, if we posted
There's
about...
always a negative.
There's always somebody that's going to try to start this war on whoever and get a bunch of other people riled up to go down the same rabbit hole they are, complaining about something that's totally ridiculous.
I think they call them trolls.
You're right, but is everyone that way, though? I mean, I think some people actually do it because they're serious and hope that there's another million people that'll back them up to make them feel good about themselves.
I think some people are so delusional. Like, let's put it honestly. Like, they're delusional that they think, like, everybody will agree with them.
Oh, yeah.
Like those kind of people exist in this world, right? Like you see it commonly where somebody has a bad experience somewhere and they explain their bad experience. And like, as you read it, it's like cringe. Like you're listening to it and you're like, ooh, like, yeah, no wonder why they treated you that way. Like, look at you,
or
you know?
This would be better addressed like privately or not just.
But my thing is like you hear them explain the story and sometimes you're like, I probably would have done the same thing to him, you know? Like
exactly.
you side with the other party, but like they really believe that like how dare they did this to me. Like I've heard that, you know, people who get treated poorly at a restaurant and then you hear like how they were treating them and I'm like, you're lucky they didn't take your chair away from you.
But
like,
even if 15 people disagree with them, if they get one to agree with them, they feel like they're
they're watching for that one like.
Yep.
That one like
Yep.
like somebody just give me a thumbs up. And then it was all understood.
Like, see, I was right and they were wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
All the time.
They have 47 negative comments, but one like, and
One
they're
positive.
like, that guy agrees with me. Like, what? So, you know, as a business owner and businesses out there, hopefully you guys are hearing what we're saying because I guess the message of what we're saying is like, you got to take all your negative, you know, comments with a grain of salt, you know? I don't know. For me, I do marketing every day. So I see people reviewing not just ShopSabre products, but all kinds of products every day. And like, honestly, like I laugh. One of my favorite ones is we did an episode recently on Sabre Talk, our video podcast with our financing team.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And like I saw a comment on one of those videos. Some guy just lit up the financing company, like lit them up. And he just accuses all banks of being crooks and this and that. And I'm like, I'm not here to say banks are or are not crooks. Like, that's not even what we're talking about. Like, we were talking about two guys trying to help people with their business. Like, and if you can afford to not finance your machine and you could pay cash, you should do it. Cool.
100%.
Like, I have no problem with you doing that. But, like, to just straight blast these two honest dudes who were, like, just trying to help people. Like, I was just like, I know David and I know Connor very well.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, like, why are you blasting and reviewing these guys so negatively when I know them personally?
Yeah, it's just like, hey, you don't need their service. You don't like what they do.
Correct.
Fine, just move on.
But that's my thing. It's like, I know these guys personally, and the way this guy was like talking about them, I'm like, that's not true.
Right.
Like, that's not how these guys. Like, maybe some banker somewhere is the way you're described. But that's not. You don't know David or Connor, obviously.
And then if you try to say that, they're gonna be like, well, of course you're gonna say that about them because you work with them every day.
Right.
So it's like,
So you can't even defend them.
No,
like,
not at all.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, I don't know. I just think about that. So, I got a friend of mine who owns a car business. He builds race cars, and he actually built me a race car. Very safe race car for the record. I've crashed it multiple times and confirmed.
A new one that's not the one you've been using?
No, the one I'm racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just fixed it again for me because.
I remember that.
Yeah. I hit a deer that day actually.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember? So.
And then you tried blaming your dad for breaking the headlight.
Come on, that was funny though.
It was great.
So off topic for a second. My dad borrowed my truck the next day. For anybody listening, my dad borrowed my truck, and I gave him my pickup because he needed to use it because his car was in the shop. So he took my truck from ShopSabre, and then he drove it to his house or whatever. It came back, and as soon as he came back, he walked in. I'm like, "What'd you do to the front of my truck?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "The headlights all broke." And he like looked, and he's like, "It was like that before." And I'm like, "No, Dad, it was not." Like I think for a second I had him convinced that maybe he crashed into something with it. But then he's like, "Wait a second, you hit a deer this weekend. I heard about that." And I'm like, "Oh, he already knew."
But the great part is it lasted for a few seconds.
Yeah, for a few seconds, he was like,
Wait,
I was like,
did I
"Is he gonna
actually?"
fix my truck? This is gonna be hilarious."
Yeah.
I wouldn't have let him fix it, just for the record.
All right. So back to your
Back
race
to
car.
my original story. So, yeah, guy who builds race cars, and there was a freak accident that happened, this summer. Not with me, another racer, and a race car ended up in the air and ran into it. Like the car was in the air, and this other race car ran into that car in the air. So, at like 70 miles an hour. So, like, race cars aren't supposed to take shots like in the window, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not often you get a 3,000 pound race car in the air and then you crash into it at 60 miles an hour. It's a pretty freak accident. Anyways, the car bent. I just heard thunder. Did you hear that?
I did.
It's rolling. It's raining here, everybody. But the car like crushed and it did its job. Driver walked away. I mean, the area where the driver sits in did its job. Nothing touched the driver. He was completely safe. To me, I would say that race car did its job.
100%.
Save the guy. Like, if you could take a shot to the front window of a race car at 70 miles an hour and the guy doesn't even get a scratch on him, race car did its job. There's a guy out there that's just blasting him all over the internet right now, saying how his race car bent too easy, like literally talking about how like poorly designed the race car is. And he's trying to like take this guy's business down a little bit. And so I responded to the guy and I was just like, I own one of these cars and they're anything but, poorly built. Like I rolled mine 8 times, and ended up in a fence. So I can say I've tested it for durability and it passed. And then this guy, obviously being able to walk away. But it's just like that's the stuff that happens on the internet. So like you have to think about that when you look at reviews on a product. Like some of the reviews, there's sub-motive to why they're doing it. They didn't get their way.
Right, 100%.
Right? Somebody didn't get their way. Somebody expected somebody to do something that is abnormal, and the company stood their ground.
Right. I think the best part of that though is nowadays there's so many people that are willing to tell people they're wrong.
Yeah.
As opposed to just ignoring people and being like, whatever, let that person have their thing. Now people are at least telling people that they're wrong and showing that what somebody is saying is just completely ridiculous, and showing other people that maybe aren't commenting or reading whatever that this is an outlier of what really happened, and what they do is actually really
I've always said go back and look at a bunch of reviews.
Yeah.
Don't look at one. Look at them all. And if the vast majority of reviews are good, so hopefully as a business, if you're listening to this and you're stressing out about reviews, because I've heard that a lot lately. I have a buddy of mine who also owns a trailer dealership, and he had a customer that he had to tell him their trailer had something majorly wrong with it, and they either need to buy a new trailer or turn it into insurance because it's going to be a lot of money. And the person got all mad and then went out and left bad reviews on his business and then got those buddies to do it too. And I'm like, and he was all freaking out because he's like, dude, I'm going to have all these negative reviews. I'm like, dude, any common person's going to recognize that all these reviews happened in the same day.
Yep.
And like around the same time, like it's usually a pretty good indication, especially when you have 500 and something good reviews and then you have 5 suddenly bad ones. And I told him, just go respond to every comment.
You're like, oh, you didn't buy a trailer from me.
That's what I said. And he's like, so he did it. And he's now, this is months ago, and now he told me, he's like, I get people all the time that comment on that like they see my review and they talked about that. And like, he's like, it gives me an opportunity to at least explain the story.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing that as business owners, you need to not be afraid to do. Like if somebody, even on positive reviews, you can go and interact with people so that people see that you're actually like involved with the business and want to talk to your customers and want to look at those, you pay attention to those reviews and that you value them, so that if somebody does go out there and, bark up the tree about something being wrong or they're being just over the top with their negativity, that you can respond back to them and just simply say, hey, look, this is what happened, and people can see the real story and then make their own decision from there.
Yeah, well, I think that's the biggest thing about business owners is like you got to be comfortable with defending yourself, but also you got to be tactful. Like you can't be rude.
No,
but you got to be willing to stand up for yourself, especially in today's world. And sometimes as bad as it sounds, sometimes bad publicity is still publicity.
100%.
Somebody wants to say negative about you, it gives you the opportunity to talk about what really happened. And I mean, if you're just a crappy business and you get lots of bad reviews, that doesn't make you okay. Then you should probably fix something. But if the vast majority of your customers are very happy and you get a bad review, you can't lose sleep over one bad review.
Not at all. I mean, do you think the NFL is upset that everybody's talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift all day, every day, no matter if they like it or not? I mean, the NFL is being talked about all day because of that.
Yeah.
Same thing. They don't care.
Speaking of the NFL, did you see that the Vikings won this week?
Yeah, Jordan Anderson was awesome.
They beat the 49ers.
They did.
And I saw a clip of the coach telling one of our players to take a seat on the ground.
Oh, people are going crazy.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's a perfect example of what I'm saying, like out of context, right?
Yep.
That's why I'm bringing this up. Is like, to the outsider who doesn't know, like, oh my God, that coach is cheating. Like, the guy was hurt. He was straight up hurt, and he's trying to hobble to the sideline. So he just told him, sit down. Like,
go down like you're supposed to so the trainers can come out and help you and get you off the field safely and not hurt something else.
Correct. But people are just taking it as, like, they cheated to win. Like, what? Like, you obviously didn't watch any of the game because he also got hurt, like, 6 more times in that game. Like, had to hobble off a bunch of times trying to fight through an injury. But it's kind of that same context about your business. Like, you could do everything right, and somebody's going to view the way you did something as wrong.
Always.
And so, and they'll spin it their way. Like there's a lot of ways people spin things to make it them the victim. And you have to, as a business owner, be willing to look through that stuff. You got, as you buy product, you got to consider that. What's common, what's uncommon, right? Ask questions. Hey, I saw a review on this. Can you explain what they were referring to?
Right.
Give the company an opportunity to talk about it. And if you see something, and they tell you something and you don't like the answer, then at least you know, right?
Well, then you can make your honest decision and move to the next company or do whatever you want to do that works best for you.
Right. And that's, fortunately for me, we don't got to deal with a lot of negative reviews. Like, we do a lot to try to, that's a big part of who we are as a company, though, with the customer service side.
You don't let it get to that point.
Yeah.
Like if somebody has an issue, you handle it right away and deal with it in a timely manner so they don't have the reasoning to go out and do it publicly.
Which is why we have a testimonial site that is full of customer testimonies.
100%.
ShopSabre.com.
We really got to change that to the new ShopSabre.com.
ShopSabre.com. I don't have a voice for that.
No,
It's
you
not
didn't.
good.
You didn't do that very good.
Not at all.
You sounded like Peter Griffin.
That'd be kind of funny, though.
You kind of sounded like Peter Griffin there. Not gonna lie to you. We have this new button on here that's kind of cool. Let me see if I can find it here. Hello, hello. Do I sound like Peter Griffin right now?
Not really.
What did you just do?
I think it's on my mic.
That's pretty funny. I don't know how it happened.
It sounded like a chipmunk.
I don't know
That
what
was
happened.
really funny.
That's funny. Mine was immune to it. I am unstoppable.
I'm going to somehow capture that from YouTube and make it my ringtone for when Stella calls me.
Dude, that was pretty sweet. I like that
was
button.
cool, actually.
Oh, that's a new button we got now. But no, like I said, not a very long episode today. We're gonna kind of, keep them a little bit shorter once in a while. Obviously, some episodes will go a little longer, but today we wanted to just really introduce the new way we're gonna do things. We're gonna kind of shorter topics, kind of in the moment, things we're thinking about. Obviously, if you guys got questions about certain things, if you want to know more about a specific thing in the industry, about your business, maybe you just got things that you would love to get feedback on, or your opinion, or our opinion. Your opinion? Our opinion.
Our opinion.
Our opinion on your question.
Yeah.
God, that was way more complicated than it should have been.
Wait till Brianna listens to this. She's going to be really confused at what you just had to say.
Oh my God. Brianna, it's my question for your answer. No, your answer for my question. No. But no, in all seriousness, if you got questions, you want to know more about, business in general and things that we could work on, and hey, I've done this in my business, what's your take on it? Like, we're always open to having those conversations, but we also are going to try to get a little bit more into the business side of ShopSabre, talk a little bit about some of the new things coming, some of the things we've worked on, some of the technology in general. I'd love to get into a little bit of discussion about ball screws and rack and pinion, some of that stuff. One topic I really want to chat about is vacuum. I think there's a lot of misconception around vacuum hold down.
I've heard some of that with the sales guys talking to people, having to explain a lot of things that people I think have misconceptions or misunderstandings about what does what and how things do certain things.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. We're going to talk about that here in the near future. We're going to talk about vacuum a little bit more and just explaining it. I mean, we did a really nice episode again on Sabre Talk with the All-Star Gasket guys, but it's just explaining like where that's necessary. I think there was a lot of misconception because people think they have to have that stuff in some scenario, and you don't. Like, there's scenarios where you just don't need the gasket. It's gaskets are great for a certain application, but not all. I mean, guys cutting cabinets, they're not always running gaskets. They're not having to do that stuff.
Right.
A lot of times, the only time you're doing it is if you're running into abnormal leakage, right? You have more part leakage. So we'll get into the weeds of that later on. But those are some of the topics we're going to have coming down the pipeline here. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the new products we've been working on. We're pretty excited. We're going to be going to PRI. So for anybody that's not familiar with it, PRI is Performance Racing Industry. We're going to be going there in Indianapolis in December.
44 days.
Is that what it is? 44?
44 days, yep.
That seems a lot further than I realized. I thought it was a lot closer than that.
Yeah, but it'll be here in no time.
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't mean it's enough time. I still need to get things ready. But
Christmas is only 67 days away.
Woo!
Then it'll be 2024 right after that. It's just like,
God.
it's crazy how time
that
goes
sounds
by.
Yeah, see, that sounds close. But yeah, I was thinking like PRI was next week. It's not. But yeah, we're gonna have our ShopMaster out there, right? We're gonna have a ShopMaster on display. We're gonna be there with Langmuir for the first time. Kind of excited about that.
Sounds like they have some pretty cool machines they're bringing, and maybe some big news that are gonna drop that day.
We got some cool stuff we're showing off. Yeah, we got a MR1 mill, so it's 3-axis gantry mill. It's pretty cool. Like I said, I've seen the thing cut, blew me away. And then we have some, their weld tables and things like that. So, for all you guys in the shop, we got weld tables. And then, we got some new and exciting stuff that we're going to be talking about at the show. We're pretty excited to show that stuff off. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that we've been working on here at ShopSabre in our engineering department. And I'm excited to kind of share like a little bit about who we are and what we do.
Sounds like it's going to be awesome and very informative for everybody that shows up.
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody who shows up will learn something. The cool thing about it is like we've never been to one of those shows. Like we've always done router shows.
So is it all just like racing business type for people that come to do it? And is it
Performance Racing Industries?
No, right. But is it like a lot of companies like us that have machines that cut parts? Or
Well,
is it a lot of everything
it's
racing?
Really racing, yeah. I was gonna say, like, if you need to buy wheels, like there'll be a wheel distributor there. There'll be shock guys. There'll be, anything that's like latest and greatest in racing. Like, this is a really big show for that. A lot of racers go to it to learn more about the new technologies. And I'm sure there'll be some car manufacturers out there, race car manufacturers, but you'll also have like, other equipment manufacturers, people who sell lasers and people who sell mills. And I mean, you'll have other things out there that guys use in fabrication shops.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, I'm excited to get in front of the crowd because we're bringing some pretty cool equipment that I think a lot of people don't realize we offer. So I'm pretty excited to have some of this out in front of the consumer in person so they can touch and feel what we actually do every day. Like, they will be able to see the quality that's in a ShopSabre plasma machine.
Well, and I think that's, like you said, you guys were at the router show in Vegas, and I think that was the biggest thing that our guys brought back is to see the quality and the build of the machines that we put out compared to others. I think seems to be the biggest takeaway from that show.
Yeah, I think it shocks a lot of people that the internet can make anything look the same, right? I mean, you can make any company, any product look equal.
You can take pictures and videos from any angle to make everything
correct, but you can't
good
you can't make it look better when it's in person, right?
No,
it is what it is at that point.
Yep.
So for me, I'm excited. I think the most about that because it will really showcase the ShopSabre quality differences. When you put them head to head with other people's machines.
For sure.
So, yeah, I'm excited about that. Obviously, I always enjoy meeting customers. That's another fun part. You get to go out, meet customers, talk to customers. Learn more about what they're looking at, what they're thinking. Obviously, last time at AWFS, it was pretty cool to see how many people came out just to say hello and to tell the story about all the cool things they've done with their machines. I know we launched some new things here. Nick, you launched something new, didn't you, recently with the customers, with our existing customers?
Oh yeah, I've been every 30 days or so. I've been reaching out to some customers from the past months, just asking for reviews, testimonials, pictures of their products they've done, just kind of anything to just kind of touch base with them,
feedback,
and have a follow up and get some feedback with them and make sure that they know that we're still here and we're still available for them, because I feel like a lot of companies sometimes will just sell you their product, get your money, and move along, right? I mean,
you're just a number to them. They don't
100%.
They don't remember you 3 days after you've spent your money, and that's who we try not to be. Like, my dad was always big on that. Like, speaking of like the old JB, like, he was really big on like remembering his customers and like, because my dad was everything. My dad sold. Then my dad was the tech guy. Like, so my dad stayed in touch with people, and it's cool because like I still to this day get phone calls from people. They're like, "Oh yeah, your dad sold me this machine," and I think about that because I'm like, man, that's like 20 years ago that my dad sold you the machine. You're still running it. That's super cool,
That is really cool.
And the crazy thing is here, Nick. Like, I go down to my dad. When people tell me to tell my dad hi, just for the record, I always tell him hi.
Yep.
Like, I'm just that guy. If I tell you I'm going to tell my dad hi, I'm going to go tell him. So I'll go down and I'll be like, "Hey, Rick from so and so says to say hi." And he's just like, "Oh yeah, I sold him this." Like, my dad just remembers it. And I'm like, "Dad, I told you to come over at 6:00 last Saturday and you couldn't remember that. But you remembered Rick from 22 years ago. Like, what happened?"
Yeah, but I mean, that's awesome. It just shows obviously how much care he has for his business and his customers.
Exactly that. Yeah, it is kind of crazy because like my wife gives me crap too because I can remember machines, model. I mean, we'll meet people in person and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you bought this from me, blah, blah, blah." And my wife's like, "You can't remember the kid's birthday and you remember that?"
Yep.
I'm like, it's just like, it's not on purpose. It's just like, that's the way my brain works. I remember weird stuff.
You bringing up your wife kind of made me think of something. Is she going to like put any sort of spending limits on your visit to the PRI show?
She might take my wallet away from me.
I was kind of wondering if she was just going to be like, "No."
She might not let me.
You're gonna
I get my driver's license.
Your ID to get on the plane,
Yeah.
and that's it.
That's right. She might make me drive. She might not even give me an ID. She's afraid I'll take out a line of credit or something.
Wouldn't be surprised.
No, I'm actually looking for. I've never been there. Never been to PRI. I've seen a bunch of videos and pictures, and I'm excited about it.
It's got to be cool just to see all the. I mean, for you especially being in the racing world, like
I won't
seeing
even
all
leave the booth probably.
I mean, you'll probably find some time to find a little. No, not at all.
I don't think so, man. Dude, at AWFS, I never got out of the booth.
That's fair.
Like, we were so busy that I couldn't leave. Like,
that's gonna be hard. Like that's right. I mean, that's right in your wheelhouse. So
but will it
everything
be
racing? And well, I guess not if you're busy and
you know what I'm saying. Like, that's something. Like, the business is what.
One.
Yeah, the business is what I always put first. Like, it's why I do what we do. So it's like, to me, I mean, the CNC industry is something I love, and I didn't get to walk around and look at the other, competitors and machines. Like, I didn't have time. So my hope is I don't have time to walk around and look around.
Fair,
but
fair.
if I do, it could get expensive.
Well, let's hope you're too busy to not even think about it then.
Or let's hope that I get a break.
Well, you're going to have 2 really good sales guys with you, so maybe they'll send you for lunch.
Only have one sales
just one?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's just me and the old Hunter.
Oh, I thought Micah was going to.
Micah's not going. No,
you and
just
Hunter
and me going down there. There'll be a handful of other ShopSabre employees and Langmuir employees.
We'll just make sure to tell Hunter not to send you for lunch.
That's good.
He'll never come back.
Yeah, good idea. Send me for the lunch order. I'll be back at 3:30. Oh, that's funny. No, anyways, like I said, that's all I got today. I don't got a lot. You got anything you want to add in, Nick?
No, I just think it's kind of a new fun format where we just kind of correlate everything in everyday life to business and kind of discuss everything that happens in life. Obviously can happen in business as well.
And we're going to try to get Taylor Swift on here.
Going to do our best.
Or Belinda Jensen.
I know I could make the second one happen.
Maybe we'll get Jose on here.
Hey.
Jose Martinez.
You going to come on and chat with us, Jose? He's like, no way.
He looked right at me. He was like, I see what you did there. He said, nope, not going to happen. He's like, I am not joining this team. But that's all I got today. I'm out of things.
Same. We should probably get back to work and take care of our amazing customers.
Yeah, we'll be back for episode number 126 next week. Thanks for talking shop with ShopSabre. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.